In this lab, we will continue with the university database. Some real-world constraints can be defined as SQL assertions and enforced onto the database state. For example, the restriction of for any valid enrollment into a course, the student must have taken all its prerequisites courses with passing grades in the same or previous years. A passing grade is considered to be a grade either A plus or A minus, B plus or B minus, C plus or C minus. We will write the query to show ID, course ID and prerequisite ID to show whether there are any data in the current database state that violates the above constraint. Let's look at the text table. So in the text table, we have student ID, course ID, section ID, semester, year, and the grade. Let's look at the prerequisite table. In the prerequisite table, we have course ID and prerequisite ID. So in the text table, student ID 0000, course ID 347. Now if we look for the prerequisite of course CS 347, the prerequisite is CS 101. So go back to the text table. For student ID 0000, let's check if the student has taken CS 101. No, he has not. So he hasn't completed the prerequisite. Let's look at the student ID 00001 CS347. So if he has completed CS101, no, it's not there. And 00128. Let's see if 00128 has completed CS101. Yes, but it's in the year 2019 and he's got an A grade. So that's okay. And let's look at student ID 12345 CS347. Has the student completed the prerequisite CS101? Yes. So 12345 complete CS101. And when did he complete? Complete 2019. So that's all right. And let's see if there is any more CS347. No, there is no more. So let's look at the other course, CS101. CS101 doesn't have any prerequisite, and CS190. Let's look if CS190 needs to have the prerequisite completed. Yes, that's CS101. Okay, let's have a look. CS190. Student ID 12345. Yes, he has completed CS101. And any more CS190? Yes, 54321. Student ID 54321. Yes, 54321 has completed CS101 in the same year 2019. And any more CS190? No. So let's look at the next course, CS315. Does CS315 needs a prerequisite to be completed? Yes, and that's CS101. So let's have a look. CS315, the student ID 12345 is doing CS315 in 2020, and in 2019 the student has completed CS101 with a C grade. Now CS315 anymore? Yes, student ID 98765 has completed CS 101 in 2019 with the grade C minus. Let's look at more now. Okay, so once that is done, let's look at History 351. History 351, that doesn't need a prerequisite to be completed. Let's look at Fin 201. Fin 201 doesn't need a prerequisite to be completed. Let's look at Physics 101. Physics 101 doesn't need a prerequisite to be completed. And let's look at CS 319. CS 319. Yes, it needs CS 101 to be completed. So CS 319, student ID 45678 doing CS 319 in year 2020 has completed CS 101 in 2019 with a D minus grade. So that's not good. So we want a passing grade. And but in 2020, the same student has taken CS 101 again and passed with a grade B+. And student ID 76543 has completed CS 101 in 2019. Okay. Now next MU199 doesn't need a prerequisite to be completed, and EE181 needs a prerequisite Physics 101 to be completed. So EE181 student ID 76653. So we don't see that he has completed Physics 101. Yeah. And Bio 101 doesn't need a prerequisite to be completed. And the last one is Bio 301. Bio 301 needs the prerequisite Bio 101 to be completed. So if we look at student ID 98988, the student has completed Bio 101 with a grade A. Okay, so let's write the query to see all those student IDs, the course ID, and the prerequisite that hasn't fulfilled the requirement that the prerequisite needs to be completed. Okay, so let's look at let's look at this part here. So select takes ID, takes course ID from select. So we just want this is in kind of like nested loop. Select takes ID, takes course ID, takes year, takes grade, prerequisite ID from takes join prerequisite on takes dot course ID equal prerequisite dot course ID. So if we do that, then It joins the table, takes table to the prerequisite uh, table, and it outputs the takes ID, the course ID, takes year, takes grade, and the prerequisite required. Okay. Okay. Now, we will, from this table, we will select takes ID, takes course ID, and we will we will join this table. We will name this as temp, and we will join it to takes table, where takes ID equal temp ID and takes course ID equal temp prerequisite ID. So what we are checking, whether the student has got that prerequisite, completed that prerequisite course with a passing grade or not. And we want takes year to be less than or equal to temp year. So this gives the table, we have a table for which the prerequisites are needed and the year in which the student is taking the course. But we are checking now by joining to takes department, takes table, we are checking if that prerequisite was completed with a passing grade. So takes year less than or equal to temp year and takes grade less than D minus. So less than D minus will be A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus, C plus, C minus. Okay. So we have takes ID and course ID, and so this has fulfilled the requirement. So student ID 00, if I make it bigger, 00128 has completed the prerequisite CS101, and student ID 12345 has completed CS101. The student 12345 has taken three courses which required the prerequisite CS101, and it has been successfully completed. So that's why we have 3 rows, because the student is doing 3 courses that requires the prerequisite. And student ID 45678 needed CS101 to be completed and is completed. Student ID 454321 needed CS101 to be completed and it is completed. Student ID 76543 needed CS101 to be completed and it is completed. 98765 needed CS101 to be completed and it is completed. Student ID 98988 needed Bio 101 to be completed and it is completed. So next we want to output, we want to see in the result the student ID, the course ID and the prerequisite ID for which the student didn't complete the prerequisite ID but is enrolled in the course. So let's do that. Okay. So we will put the condition, select So we will be, what we are doing is from the takes table, we are joining it to prerequisite on takes course ID equal prerequisite ID, where takes ID and prerequisite ID. So the student ID and the prerequisite ID, we putting it in the tuple form, not in. So and then we are not in this tuple, so not in here. Okay, so and then we want only the student ID, course ID and the prerequisite ID. So if we run that, then we get ID number, student ID number 00001 has taken course CS347 but didn't complete CS101. Student ID 00000 has taken CS347 but didn't complete the prerequisite CS101. Student ID 76653 has completed EE181 but hasn't completed the prerequisite ID, course ID Physics 101.